For those of you who don't know, I challenged myself to read the entire Bible in 1 month. The Bible I have is over 1,800 pages and I have 60 pages to read per day, which, as you can imagine, with a full-time job, that was stressful to say the least. So welcome, have fun watching me struggle through this. This episode is a doozy. Good morning. I'm actually filming when it's light outside, so you're welcome. I have a huge day ahead of me of binge reading the Bible. By the end of this weekend, I'm supposed to be halfway through the book, so that means I will be 2 weeks into this whole challenge. However, there's no way I'm getting to halfway by the end of this weekend. So I feel like it makes more sense to set realistic goals that I can actually hopefully achieve. And so I just want to get as caught up as I can without like rushing myself too much. So I think my goal I'm making for myself is to finish both 1st and 2nd Samuel and 1st and 2nd Kings. This day was one of the most productive days I've had throughout this entire thing, and I got so much done. But before we get into that, last time I was still slowly trudging through Judges, so here's how I finished that. I was actually not able to finish Judges last night, so I'm about to go read a ton for the next few minutes and finish that out. I'm so close to being done. With Judges, it's really fun to read about the different people that are chosen to be judges and why, and they all kind of are given this really cool story of how they're like saving Israel for a few years, and they like bring them back up and then the judge dies or stops being a judge and then they go right back down. There's one girl, Deborah. It's Deborah. I don't know why I didn't just say Deborah. She was a judge and she was so cool, and she like helped them defeat like all of their enemies, and that was pretty cool. So yeah, I'm gonna go read a bunch real quick. I finished Judges. It's an intense book, or at least the ending of it is very intense, and I was like kind of shocked throughout a lot of it, but I finished it. Then it was time for me to start Ruth on this sunny day at work. I finished it in one sitting and that was great. And then I immediately dove straight into 1 Samuel. I have some good news. I finally got highlighters. So yeah, now my annotating has gone to the next level. It's colorful now. I'm realizing that I think every single thing that I film, I'm in basically the same place, in the same sweatshirt, saying basically the same thing, which is I've read another book of the Bible. Today, I read through all of Ruth pretty quickly. Now I am well into 1 Samuel. I'm at page 420, which is where I should have been on Monday. It's Wednesday now, so that's how far behind I am. This book is really good. I'm actually really liking this one so far. I show you this every single night, but look how thick it's getting. It's like a decent chunk of the book has been read, and it feels so accomplishing. That beautiful weekend is coming up where I read nonstop and enjoyed every minute of it, but the Friday night before that, I was struggling, so here's that. Tomorrow, I am probably going to kind of challenge myself to read for basically the entire day. I was hoping that I could finish 1 Samuel yesterday, but then I ended up having a lot that I needed to do last night, and I read like only 2 or 3 pages yesterday, which I think is the least I've read this whole time. I think once I start really getting into reading tonight and I hopefully finish 1 Samuel, which has been my goal for the past 2 days now, then I'll start feeling a little bit better about all of this. I did hit David's story and then the whole David and Goliath story, so that was really fun, but that also meant I was moving pretty slowly because I really wanted to read all of that well, and I was lining up a lot and highlighting a lot, so that took a little bit of time to get through. Doesn't look like much, but this was a week and a half of work, actually almost 2 weeks at this point. So I think this might be it for today, and I think tomorrow I'm just gonna really have to read non-stop as quickly as I can. Tomorrow's gonna be a very interesting day. I have some good news. I just finished 1 Samuel finally. And now I'm moving into 2 Samuel. I don't know why this is called 2 Samuel because Samuel has already died, and I think now this is all just gonna be about David. So I don't know why this isn't called David. I didn't realize how much there was to David's story. Like, I had obviously read David and Goliath before and like the earlier like beginnings of his story, but I didn't know all of this with like Jonathan. I didn't know him and Saul had so much going on. I'm really happy that I'm finished now, and it's still decently early, so I still have a lot of time to read just throughout the rest of today. Yeah, today is just like a speed read all day long, nonstop. Don't do anything, don't think about anything, just read the Bible constantly. It's funny because right after I said that, I decided that I needed a break. You know how when you read too much and it feels like your brain is turning to jello? That's what was happening to me, so I decided to go outside and take a walk/run, and it was a really good decision because I felt so much better by the time I got back. I'm back from my run. It was very nice, very freezing. I feel like whenever I take a nice long break from doing something all day, it helps me to like read a lot faster when I come back to read more. So now I'm ready to get back into it. I'm back into 2 Samuel and I'm just trucking through. The reason why I said earlier that this was one of the most productive days I've had is because I finished 1 Samuel, then I started 2 Samuel, and then by the end of the day, I was able to even crack into 1 Kings. This is probably the most I had read in one day up until this point. Then the next day, I basically woke up and did the same thing with one purpose, which was to finally catch up. Today, I haven't done too much so far. I literally read the first page of 1 Kings. This book is about 50 pages long, which doesn't sound like much, but that's pretty long. It's a lot I need to do in a little bit of time, but I believe I can do it. I have been reading for the past few hours, and now I only have 20 pages left in 1 Kings. So it's looking pretty good that I'll be able to finish this pretty soon. I keep thinking to myself, like, I probably could very easily sit down and read 20 pages in like a very short period of time if I just quickly skimmed and just flipped pages really quickly. But I don't want to do that. I have to constantly tell myself that I'm reading this because I want to read it. I want to have read everything and like know the entire story and not miss anything, but I can't realistically keep doing this for too much longer than a month. Like, literally all of my free time is spent reading the Bible, and I'm not even where I should be yet. There's no way I'm just gonna stop. Like, I'm going to go until I finish this no matter what. But the scary thing is that it might take a lot longer than a month. It might take 2 months, and that would be just really difficult. Obviously, if I had to do it, I could, but like, my life right now is all reading the Bible. Like, every spare second of my free time, I'm reading the Bible, which is great, and I am really loving that. But at the same time, there's like other things that I need to do with my life. I have finally finished 1 Kings. It literally took me all day to do. 1 Kings was a really good book of the Bible. It reminded me a lot of Judges. It was very like historical. It took place over a long period of time, over several generations of kings, and I am excited to move into 2 Kings now. At this point, I'm just going with the flow. I'm doing whatever I can do when I can do it. I'm just trusting the process and keep reading this Bible until I'm finished reading it and not stop. A while ago, I made a video kind of similar to this where I was reading War and Peace, and even though it looks a lot thicker than this one, it's actually way less words. I just love the idea of really challenging myself to get through a ginormous book in a short period of time. And if you watched the video, you would know that I didn't end up finishing it. I actually didn't even get that far into it. I don't even think I made it halfway. This one I'm going to finish. Even though it's a lot more work, even though it's more words and more pages, I'm going to do it no matter what. And I don't know why it's different this time. I just actually have the motivation to do it. I want to know everything that's in here, every story, every person. Even if it takes longer than I thought it was going to take, I'm not going to give up.